Hello, beautiful. I wasn't going to post today, but some really important messages are coming in about boundaries. So I want to talk about why it's so important to have boundaries and why, if you feel upset about something that somebody has done, it's only because your boundaries are trying to tell you something about yourself. Okay, so for example, when a cat gets upset about boundaries, you crossing boundaries with them, they will hiss at you or even, try to scratch you. Now, we all know that cats have this way of expressing their boundaries, so we don't take it personally, usually. We understand that they have something to say and we want to hear them. When we feel angry, it's actually the same thing. It's just our body's way of letting us and them know that they've crossed a boundary. So it's really, really important for us to start listening to ourselves and not just shoving it down and guilting ourselves for feeling those feelings in the first place, but recognizing that they're actually a really important piece to the puzzle. Okay, so for example, I just moved into this house and I'm in a small town for the first time in a long time, and my neighbor is extremely nosy and I'm really not used to it. I've been in pandemic land for 4 years now, just super isolated. I smile and nod at people in the street. I'm very polite, but I don't engage, Anyway, it feels like every time I walk out of my house, she's there getting involved in my business, and it's driving me insane. It's getting to the point where I don't really want to leave the house because I'm afraid of let me rephrase it. If I'm not feeling social or like I can handle that interaction, it makes me not want to leave the house. And that's not okay. That's not an okay way for me to live my life. And so instead of feeling that way, limited in that way, it's an opportunity for me to express my boundaries to her. The last time I saw her, I didn't have any of these downloads. I wasn't aware of exactly why I was so angry. I was so angry. And I thought it had more to do than just with her. But it's her, it's everything. It's your boundaries being crossed. Someone else, another client of mine, has been really pushing my boundaries. They're not actually a client, but they're a person who watches my videos, and it's really, really important for us to honor each other's boundaries. If somebody says, please do not approach me in this way, or please do not reach out to me for this amount of time, I need space, listen to them, okay? If you push that boundary, you're basically asking to get clawed or to get hissed at. And if you, as the person who set down the boundaries, is having that reaction of anger firing up inside of you, don't feel like there's anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's your body's way of telling you what your boundaries are. Okay, what you're capable of giving. Because, for example, if you have nothing left to give and there's somebody following you around, tugging at you, let's just pretend for a minute that it's a child, even though that's a terrible analogy for losing your temper, because obviously we don't want to lose our temper with children. But like, who else, could follow you around and tug on your clothes without being seen as insane? But imagine that there's somebody doing that, and you are already at your wit's end, you're already exhausted, you already feel like you don't have much to give. You're gonna probably express some clear boundary and have that moment of like a tea kettle reaching boiling point, the old school ones that whistle, that you're gonna have that reaction. And it's not because, it's not even necessarily because they're doing something wrong or that you're doing something wrong. It's because they're hitting a boundary, and it's your job to let them know. Even if it is a child, actually, it's our job to communicate. And I know children don't always understand, so let's just bypass that little part and assume that they will, okay? Because even my cat understands when I'm angry and when I set boundaries. My cat is very smart, all right? He doesn't get on counters, he doesn't get on tables. He's smart, all right? We don't give people and animals enough credit, okay? Children are very intelligent. It's only when this isn't about kids, so I'm just gonna, again, bypass that. Again, I wasn't planning on posting today, but there have been a couple things in the last few days specifically that have really, really gotten under my skin and pushed those boundaries. And it's like, okay, the people pleaser in me feels like I'm supposed to just smile at this woman and pretend like it's fine. And I'm like, fuck that shit. I didn't make it this far in my life to feel like every time I walk out of my house, that I owe this woman anything, that she has any say. She showed up on my 5th day of living here because we hadn't met yet, knocking on my door when I wasn't ready to talk to anyone. I was still feeling very drained and exhausted. And I think she knew that, but she wanted to have her way, and she wanted to give me her phone number as a way to help me, even though I don't. Anyway, my point is, like, I knew immediately when I opened the door what her intention was. Her intention was to get in my business, to be nosy, to find out information about me. She acted like her intention was to help me, to be of service to me. But I know immediately. That's why I brought it up in my video yesterday. This, sometimes when I meet people, I get this whole rush of information all at once. I knew the minute we opened the door to each other that she didn't have good intentions, that she wasn't somebody I wanted to be friends with, and that her energy was all not good. And I pretty much let her know with my energy that I didn't want to talk, but I didn't actually say anything. And then the next time we ran into each other, I didn't ignore her, but I nodded and smiled, and I made it very clear that I didn't want to be friends with her. And then yesterday she just like bombarded me in my driveway and started telling me all this stuff. I don't care, woman, like, get out of my fucking face. And I didn't have the wherewithal to express anything then. But next time, now that I know what's happening and now that I know why the reaction I'm having is so strong, there's nothing wrong with me. It's that a boundary is being crossed and I need to express it. If I don't express it, it's only going to fester. Okay, that's why I'm sharing this, because a lot of us just fester. We think that there's something wrong with us. Like, why does it make me so angry? It makes you angry because it's pushing a nerve and it's getting you to react and have those boundaries. It's so important for us to protect our energy right now, you guys. All right, if people are draining you, say for instance, this other person sending me email after email after email that are like this long and all details about their horrible life or whatever they're going through, and it's like outside of a paid exchange, meaning like they're not my mentor clients, they're just people that feel entitled to my energy. I try to be nice the first time by saying clear boundaries. The second time I'm like much more clear, and the third time I'm like, I'm not working with you. And at that point it's like they kind of jug their own grave. You know, if somebody doesn't listen to your boundaries over and over and over again, and then you have to do something drastic, that's not your problem, that's their problem. Okay, and I'm saying this for your benefit because a lot of you guys are people pleasers, and I, as an ex-people pleaser, I totally fucking get it. I still have these like tick reactions, especially in the real world with real people in the street, where I feel some sort of obligation to deliver something or be, especially as a woman. And I live in a neighborhood with a lot of older people, and no offense to older people, but I was just talking about Mad Men, the show, the other day, and how much our society has changed. There is this sense of entitlement that people feel to women specifically, especially older men, but older women too. They're used to a people-pleasing era. They are used to every neighbor having those nosy neighbors that just feel like they're entitled to everything that's going on. I don't fly that way, and it's fine if you want to treat everyone else that way, but you don't get to treat me that way. Just because that's how you've lived your life this whole time and everyone around here is fine with it, that's great for them, but it's not going to work for me. And I'm going to have to set a new standard for this neighborhood. And it's going to be awkward. But you know what? I know that's why I came here, and I know that it's not a coincidence, and I know that if anyone can do it, it's me. And I've really gotten to a place now where I'm strong enough to just hold my ground. Because the difference is, when you're a people pleaser, a true people pleaser wants to please everyone. They want to be liked by everyone. I'm really at a place now where I'm like, I don't really give a shit if you don't like me. I don't like you. Why would I care if you like me? Do you know what I mean? I'll be civil. I'm never going to be just flat out rude unless you are just disrespectful. And then I'm just going to, like a cat. I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to get you the fuck away from me. Because when people feel entitled to your energy, they drain you without even realizing it. These long emails about all these personal details that are just really inappropriate outside of a paid exchange. It's just like a dump, an emotional dump on someone that you're trying to thank for work that they've already done. It's like, if you're really trying to thank them, then don't give them more work. Don't turn to them and pretend you're thanking them, and actually you're really asking for more. And this is why boundaries are so important, because people pay attention. They witness other people lacking boundaries. They witness what's happening in this paradigm. And they're like, oh no, this is acceptable because we live in a people-pleasing era. Well, I'm personally spearheading this. Fuck this people-pleasing era. We have to protect our energy, okay? And again, it doesn't mean you have to be rude. You don't have to be rude the first time. But if the third time they're still poking you and pushing your boundaries, do whatever you need to do to make yourself clear. All right, and within reason, obviously. I'm such a mild person when it comes to that statement. To me, that seems mild, but to someone else that could seem extreme. So don't be extreme, but do whatever you need to do to make it clear that your boundaries are not to be fucked with. Because when people make it clear, and they kind of get a reputation, and then everyone around them knows, like, ooh, that's not a person you want to fuck with. And I want to have that reputation. I still want to be friendly. I still want to be a nice neighbor. I still want to be a good person, but I don't want to be a pushover. I don't want to be a people pleaser. And I don't want to be I don't want to be somebody who's just drained all the time because everyone else feels entitled to their energy. And that's kind of how I've lived my entire life up until a few years ago. So whoever this is for, you don't need to fucking please anyone. You don't need to appease anyone. You don't need to pretend that you're fine. If you feel angry, there's a reason. Allow yourself to feel it. Identify what it is and then express it, okay? Do yourself a favor, because that same person that sent me all those emails, if I hadn't expressed something, they would have kept doing it. They would have continued to do it. And then I would have been continuing to drain myself in order to give them something that they didn't even earn, that they didn't even ask for, that they just felt entitled to. And same to this woman. I'd walk out of my house every single day and she'd feel entitled to just take from me and dump on me. And I'm just not fucking down with that anymore. All right? Can I get an amen? So for all my people pleasers, this is for you. I love you. Keep going. Don't let anybody push you around. If you need a private reading or some self-love or self-empowerment coaching, which is what boundaries are all about, my website is sacredmuseproject.com. And for everyone else, I love you. Even the person that emailed me a million times, just listen next time somebody sets their boundaries. All right, that's the lesson here. I still love you, all right? But I'm not gonna work with you again. Okay, I love you. I'll see you next time.